Commercial auto is one of the hardest lines in the insurance market right now. Verdicts are up, carriers have pulled back, and the hardest corner of the whole market is anything that moves people for money. Which brings me to a different audience than usual. If you've been here for the contractor stuff, stick around, because the principle at the center of this is the same one. If you run non-emergency medical transport, NEMT, you already know that your state has a minimum insurance requirement. That number usually isn't the one that decides anything. The broker you're credentialing with sets its own standards, and theirs is the one that determines whether you get to work. There are 3 layers stacked on top of each other. Most operators check the state layer and then they stop. The bottom layer is state law. Your state sets a legal floor for for-hire passenger transport. In a lot of states, that floor is higher than standard commercial auto, but it's still a floor. The middle layer is the Medicaid program rules in your state. Those sit on top of state law. Now, each state works so different. The top layer is your broker contract. That's a private agreement between you and a company, and it can require anything it wants if you want to work for them. The rule that governs it is whichever one is strictest. So if your state says one number and your broker says a bigger one, you carry the bigger one. Not because it's the law, because it's the contract. And the contract is what gets you paid. So the document to check is your broker contract. That's the one that governs. What's commonly on the list? I'm going to give you categories and ranges, not numbers to write down, and I'll tell you why in just a second. Commercial auto liability, usually written on a combined single limit, commonly in the 7 figures range, and there's real variation between broker networks. Some are lower, some are meaningfully higher. General liability, commonly a per occurrence and aggregate pair. Workers' compensation, if you've got employees, and broker networks commonly ask for sexual abuse and molestation coverage, often as a separate endorsement. If you're transporting medically vulnerable passengers, expect to see it on the list. Now, why ranges and not numbers? Because broker credentialing and requirements are contract terms, not law. They vary by broker, they vary by state, and they change from one contract year to the next. If I give you a number today and you buy a policy to match it, and your broker wanted something different, then I just cost you your credentialing. So allow me to not do that for you. So confirm every limit against your actual broker contract, not the recruiter's summary email, the contract itself. One thing I'll say without hedging, personal auto does not cover this work, and a rideshare or delivery endorsement is not the same thing as commercial auto for scheduled patient transport. Those endorsements were built for something else. Last week I did an episode on Louisiana contractor licensing, and the lesson turned out to be the same one as what I'm sharing with you now. The coverage is usually fine. The paperwork is what fails. Same thing here. The broker almost always has to be named as an additional insured on your certificate of insurance. That's an endorsement that your agent files against your policy. It's not a line somebody types onto a certificate. Those are 2 different things, and the second one will not survive a credentialing review. Your legal entity name, your address has to match. If your policy says one address and your Medicaid enrollment says another, that's a delay. And every coverage the broker asks for has to actually appear on the certificate, not be assumed on the document. Incomplete files are the most commonly cited reason credentialing drags out for weeks. Not denials, delays. And a delay is the same thing as a no when you've got vehicles sitting and you don't have money coming through. 2 things people don't budget for. First, a large share of what goes wrong in this business does not happen while the vehicle is moving. It happens at the curb, on a ramp, getting somebody in and out of the vehicle. That's general liability territory, not auto. And if you've been treating general liability as the box you check to satisfy the broker, it's covering the part of your day where the most can go wrong. Second, your commercial auto policy covers your vehicle. It does not cover your passenger's mobility equipment. A power wheelchair is a serious piece of equipment, and it's sitting in your van on every trip in your care. If something happens to it, that's a real number, and a lot of operators find out later that it was never part of the conversation. Ask your agent specifically how equipment in your care, custody, and control is handled. That's the phrase. 3 things to do this week. 1, pull your broker contract and find the insurance section. The actual contract, not the summary someone sent you when you signed up. 2, put that section next to your current certificate and go line by line. Does every coverage they ask for appear on your document? 3, call your agent and ask 2 questions. Number 1, is my broker on there as additional insured by endorsement? And number 2, how is passenger equipment in my care handled? I put together a free NEMT credentialing guide for you. It's at watleyinsuranceGroup.com/NEMT-insurance. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment. In the meantime, if you want somebody to look at your credentialing file with you, the booking link, it's in the description. This is general information, not legal, licensing, or coverage advice. Broker requirements vary. Read your contract. See you next Tuesday.